It is 6 PM. I'd like to welcome everyone to this, the November 19th Commissioners Meeting. And if we'll all rise, I'm going to ask our new Commissioner, District 1 Commissioner Andy Shaver to bring us the invocation, please.
Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus, and we ask for your presence. We ask for your wisdom. We ask you to enable us to represent well, to govern well. We ask for your blessing on this county, all of the employees, all of the representative, elected officials in this room. Lord, we thank you for blessing them today. Lord, we pray your peace over those that serve us in law enforcement and in every way those that first respond and protect us. We ask that you would protect them and bless them today. Lord, watch over us in this meeting. Give us your Holy Spirit to guide. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If the clerk would please call the roll.
Commissioner Shaver,
Here.
Commissioner Arndt,
Present.
Commissioner Peak,
Here.
Commissioner Haskell,
Here.
Commissioner Pearl Wright,
Here.
Commissioner Whitaker, Commissioner Moudry,
Here.
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Drosha,
Here.
Commissioner Toomey,
Here.
Commissioner Hanson,
Here.
Commissioner Christensen,
Here.
Commissioner Holmes,
Here.
Commissioner Barber,
Here.
Commissioner Chairman Mott.
Yes, Chairman Mott is absent this evening. He's on, I think he's done running his crops in, so he probably took a well-deserved vacation, so he's asked me to step in, so we'll keep him in mind. We have one change to our agenda, and that is the addition of item E, under number 6, item E, letter from Capillary Transportation Authority. Are there any other additions or changes?
No, sir.
All right. Do we have an approval of the agenda as written?
Support.
Moved and supported. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, thank you. And now to the October 15th meeting minutes. Moved and supported. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Moved, supported, and added to our records now. Item number 6, communications. We have 5 different letters here. The Lenawee County resolution opposing DHHS plan to implement competitive procurement process for PIHP. We have a letter from Calamo Township Supervisor, a letter from Sunfield Township, a letter from Chester Township, and the aforementioned letter from Capillary Transportation Authority. Those are all in your packet and available to the public. On to Capital Region Authority. We have a report tonight. And we welcome you to Eaton County.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for the opportunity to provide an update at the Capital Region International Airport and some of the great work that we're doing that the team's been able to get accomplished. I'm Nicole Null-Williams. I'm the President and CEO for the Airport Authority. Been in this role, pleasure to be in this role for, a little over 4.5 years. So we've been able to accomplish quite a bit, and Mark's been a great representative from the county as an ex officio for our board. So I think the presentation's up. Let's kind of run through some of the key slides. We'll move on to the summary of the Airport Authority and the board. But the makeup of the Airport Authority board is 3 from the city of Lansing and 3 from Ingham County, and of course ex officios that we have within Eaton and Clinton County. The board has been very involved and engaged in the efforts that we've taken moving forward and supportive of many of those efforts, so it's appreciated. On to slide 4. Some of our key priorities, or I should establish as our 4 key priorities, is looking at retaining and expanding both domestic and international passenger services. Working on efforts to expand cargo development, land development, as well as support corporate and general aviation. So as the team, my team's working on priority items and projects, they need to stay focused within those areas. Any variance from those is based off of availability of time to deviate from any of those 4 key priorities. Page 5 highlights the airport authority, the fact that the international airport sits in 3 counties, a little over 2,000 acres of land that we have available, $1 billion economic impact. I have $1 billion economic impact that this has to the region. Now, the airport authority, we have right around 42 to 43 employees, depending on retirees and trying to really tag up and prepare. So we have cross-training going on. But right now, we've got 43 employees, but think we've got over 700 people that work at the airports. Over 700 people have badge access to the airport. So amount of jobs, think of UPS, think of your airlines, TSA that's now getting paid, FAA that's now getting paid, our air traffic controllers, all of them being key factors in that 700 jobs that are available because we have the airport here in Lansing. I'll highlight some of these other key areas with UPS and the fact that we've got 63 million pounds of cargo that go in and out of Lansing with UPS and our tiered suppliers. On to page 6. We also own Mason Jewett Field, General Aviation Airport. Beautiful airport where we've got, of course, GA. We've got some corporate that's going in and out of there. But one of the key things that I love to highlight is Lansing Community College Aviation Technology Degree Program. I've got a slide that goes into a little bit more detail about the work that they're doing down at our Mason Airport. Slide 7, highlighting all the key things that we're going to talk about, which really impacts all of those key development areas that we've discussed, and those things that tie into projects impacting all 4 of those areas. So slide 8, highlight our airline services that we have from the Lansing Airport. American Airlines with nonstop flights to Chicago and Washington, D.C. It goes into the Reagan National Airport. Those flights are daily. So it provides that service from their state's capital to the nation's capital. Delta Airlines with service to Detroit, 3 flights daily. Of course, understanding both of those carriers, we're taking you to 3 different hubs with multiple connections that are available. So well over 500 connections that are available to destinations, both domestic and international. Breeze Airways, how about I do this? Show of hands. Breeze Airways, how many of you have flown on Breeze Airways out of Lansing to Orlando or to Fort Myers? We got 1 in the audience. How many of you been to Florida in the last 2 years? Raise show of hands. Many more. Okay, so what I need you to do is when you're looking at your next trip to Florida, look at Breeze Airways. Nonstop flights to Orlando International Airport and to Fort Myers, the primary airport, not the secondary airports. Their flights are 2 times a week. Breeze Airways is a carrier that actually was developed from David Neeleman. David Neeleman started up JetBlue. He started up WestJet, which is up in Canada, Air Azul, which is down in Mexico. So 3 strong carriers as well as some other companies that he's been involved in. But this is his baby. He started back in 21. They've got an order of 90 A220 aircrafts, so 90 brand new aircrafts that are coming off the line. I'm not a petite person, and I can sit in the coach seat, which I should specify. Breeze Airways has coach seating, business seating, and first class seating. A low-cost carrier that actually has all 3 options available. I can sit and coach and cross my legs without hitting the seat in front of me. So the pitch provides more leg room than a traditional Delta Airlines flight today. So something to think about, and if you, of course, if you've got friends, family that are going to those destinations, it's all about using what we currently have so we can see growth to new destinations and new markets. So they're looking at 2 different markets next year. So hopefully next year I'll be able to talk about future growth with Breeze Airways, as well as expanded services with Delta and other carriers that we're having conversations with. Next slide is our international service. So Lansing became a port of entry, inland port of entry in 2009. And with that port of entry status that we opened up our facilities, and it wasn't just talking about passenger, but it was passenger and cargo. So we established those facilities to support those efforts. By the end of June of that month, that we announced that service to or that port of entry status, Apple Vacations announced their first year of international flights to Cancun. So this year is coming up to our 16th year. We went from 15 international flights to Cancun to now over 60 international nonstop flights from Lansing. Starts the end of January, runs until spring break, and it's 3 flights weekly to Cancun, 2 flights weekly to Punta Cana, and 1 flight weekly to Cabo. So it provides a lot of different opportunities. We don't have snow on the ground today, but it's coming. So we remind folks to keep that in mind. All of these, you can contact a local travel agency. Apple Vacations, that's a great way to learn about using Apple, which is your air. You can combine it with hotels. It includes your food, your cocktails, entertainment at the properties. They can do everything for you all in one-stop shop. It makes it really easy. But you can also go to the flylansing.com website and find out more details pertaining to the flights. Page 10, go back and highlight a little bit more about Lansing Community College Aviation Tech Program. This has been in place for over 65 years. It's a feeder for Delta Airlines. If you know of kids that are out there, I shouldn't say kids, young adults, adults that are interested in becoming an aviation mechanic, it's a 2-year degree program. You complete your FAA, 6 FAA exams. We average every year about 50 kids that are graduating from the program, and every student has at least 2 job offers for $60K plus. The demand is huge for aviation mechanics. So we all heard back as we came out of the pandemic, the need for pilots. The demand for mechanics is just as great, if not greater. And what we have is the baby boomers all retiring, and we haven't focused on building that workforce in these areas. And we're now in that position that we need to address it. Now, LCC's mechanic program, there's a little over 200 programs like this in the United States. LCC's program ranks within the top 10. So it's a great program. If anything, they're looking at how do they expand and focus on different areas of aviation as it moves forward than just the standard type aircraft, but also looking at electric aircrafts, drone technology, drone training. So we look forward to working with them and helping their efforts for growth and training programs. The next slide, as I mentioned, when I came back as the CEO role in 21, we were just coming out of the pandemic, and we had this pendulum where all the airlines had reduced the amount of flights and allowed early retirements with their pilots, and so we had a major pilot shortage. What we then experienced, which was everyone, when they got ready to travel, wanted to hit every national park in the United States. And so there wasn't enough pilots, there weren't enough planes to be able to make all that happen. And what the industry did is all these 70-seat aircrafts, 90-seat aircrafts, those pilots got eaten up by the major carriers really quick. And so airports like Lansing, these small size airports, were the ones that got initially impacted when it came to frequencies of service or reductions of service because they didn't have enough pilots. So we can sit back and say, woe is us, we didn't have a plan, or we can't play a role, and that's not the role that I take. So we started having conversations with the universities, with community college, with partners, and Dr. Sean Williams from Eaton RISA was the one that came to the table and said, Nicole, I think we can create a program. And if you're not familiar, this is an aviation career institute for juniors and seniors in high school. Kids in Eaton, Ingham, Clinton County, private schools can come to the Lansing Airport for a half day and get introduced to aviation. Our first year, we had, I think, 6 kids that finished their private pilot's license. So we're on year 2. As part of this, over on the next slide, to highlight 2 of our other key partners to making this happen, is the expense to become a pilot today, the amount of hours that are needed. If you didn't do, as you continue to progress, if you weren't in positions where you were making money as you were progressing on your hours, it's about $80,000 investment to become a pilot. There's ways to work around that. If you come out of the military, it's less hours. If you have a bachelor's degree in aviation, it's less. Associates, it's less. But if you said clean slate and I paid for 100, right now it's about $80,000. And so parents were coming back to Dr. Williams and said, what are some options? We were able to reach out to April Clovis, the president at MSU-FCU, knowing that they have programs for electricians and plumbers, and how do we establish something for our airport pilots, those that want to be involved in aviation. And April was like, I'm on board. So there's now a loan program that's set up for these kids that are juniors and seniors in high school to help support them, advance the dollars, so they can continue with their programs. But then she didn't stop there. She said, well, we're not gonna end there. We're gonna do two $5,000 scholarships for kids that are going through the program. So this is our second year, so we've got 4 kids that have received $5,000 scholarships to put towards their Focus on Flight. So it's been a great partnership with Crosswinds Aviation. If any of you are interested in becoming a pilot, if you're not today, Crosswinds can provide adult training as well. So to highlight that. Next slide just shows some of the images within the classroom. It's held in the second floor at the airport. When I first came back to the airport, there was quite a few nuggets of spaces that we had available for lease. I have nothing available for lease. I have everything full. So now we're looking at future efforts of land development, and I'll highlight some of those key things to make sure we're being as efficient as we can, but also diversifying revenue streams. On page 14, highlight a little bit about our cargo. We were able to expand our cargo ramp, which was perfect timing with UPS and some of the growth that they have, as well as them sealing the contract for the U.S. Post Office. So that brought in another wide-body aircraft. They have partnerships with Martin Air and Ameriflight that's going in and out of Lansing. One thing that I think is interesting is Lansing is 90 minutes from 90% of the state's population. And so UPS has been able to benefit from that central location for distribution of products. Show of hands, how many of you ordered something off of Amazon or ordered something for next day over the last day or two? Quite a few, right? So most of those packages came in and out of the Lansing airport. So anything next day for UPS, and Amazon leases some of the space within UPS, comes in and out of the Lansing airport. You'll see on slide 15 highlights some of the key markets that the larger wide-body aircrafts are going to. And then on 16, you see where those feeder aircrafts are going throughout the state of Michigan, and even going into neighboring states, which is not tied into this mapping for the state of Michigan. But there's a great distribution center that's located here with UPS. If your business is shipping and you're not using UPS, I'm asking you to go back and revisit your contracts and support those that are supporting our region, and UPS is one of those. So, page 17, when we talk about our international, as I mentioned, we weren't just focused on the passenger side and getting people to vacation spots like Cancun and Punta Cana and Cabo. We're also looking at packages. We're also looking at foreign trade zone, the benefit of deferring taxes or duties, the tariffs of products coming and going. We have that capability of doing that right here in Lansing and supporting that within an 8-county region. So if you've got companies that are importing and exporting today, and there's a benefit with those companies being able to defer or eliminate a tax or a tariff, we've got specialties, folks within the industry that can come in and meet with these corporations and do assessments and what they're importing and exporting, what countries they're importing and exporting from, to see what kind of a tax benefit there would be in setting up a foreign trade zone that was established to really keep these companies here in the United States. Next slide, slide 18, talk about site readiness. So that's all about being build ready. And right now I've got, the team is mowing areas that I don't want them mowing. I want buildings on them, and I want to make revenues off of those. So to do that, we have to have our utilities in, electricity, the sewer. So I've got an area that's across from UPS, about 47 acres, that we are wrapping up design for utilities to be brought in. Construction will be this next year. So this has been a long ongoing project, and that's been in partnership with Lansing Board of Water and Light. Next slide shows you some of the key areas within that development space that we're talking about. Again, it's kind of on the south side, south of UPS, if you're familiar with the airport. Page 20, one of those areas that we do not receive standard FAA federal funds from or for is our roads, just our standard roads. So we own the boulevard and we own LaPorte Lansing Road, but we don't receive state or federal funds traditionally to help support, maintain these roads. So we were able to secure funding for this project. Design is just getting wrapped up. I think I'll see a final design in 2 weeks. After that, we'll be able to go out to bid, and this will be constructed next year, which will be rehabbing our boulevard and Port Lansing Road. We're timing that with Clinton County and some of the efforts they're taking with Airport Road to make sure we've got efficiencies for consumers to be able to get in and out, but also our mutual aid partners to be able to respond to situations if necessary at the airport. So we've tied it in with open houses and a lot of discussions with our partners to streamline this. We'll make sure there's more information when that comes together this next year on routing changes and how to get in and out of the airport, whether you're picking up and dropping off customers or have business of any purpose out at the airport. Slide 21 highlights future technology. So as I've come back, it's making sure that we're leaning forward to 15, 20 years down the road. What type of aircrafts are we going to have here? What kind of efficiencies do we need with drone technology? And one of those key things is electric aircrafts. So I've been meeting and working with Beta Technologies. They're out of Burlington, Vermont. They're manufacturing electric aircraft, so a pilot and 5 passengers or a pilot and 3 pallets. Investors for Beta are UPS, the Army, the Air Force, healthcare industry. They're just shy of 1,000 employees. And as they continue to move forward with FAA authorization in their fixed wing aircraft, they're also manufacturing an eVTOL. So think of a helicopter airplane had a baby. That's what an eVTOL is. And the ability to get into areas, especially when you start thinking about military and being able to respond to situations or health issues in very rural communities, these types of aircrafts will be extremely beneficial. Michigan Economic Development Corporation put funding in place to support various industries in the aeronautical space. And Beta Technologies is one of those. And so we were able to secure a charging unit. So think of your Tesla charger. You got a Tesla charger basically unit inside the fence for electric airplanes. And they've been able to fly in and out of Lansing, demo the aircraft, and as they continue to get FAA approval, these are the types of aircrafts that we may see in our state. And in neighboring states. And our focus is making sure we've got the utilities put in place so we're ready to support our partners like UPS. Next slide. CATA rides. We've been working with CATA. Another issue is we just don't have enough Ubers and Lyft drivers around. We don't have enough taxi companies around. And CATA came to the table and said, we've got an opportunity to be able to provide some support. This was initially kicked off, Lansing Airport to East Lansing, focusing on 9 key areas. And this is getting people to the Kellogg Center, to the Graduate, to the Marriott, and to other key locations on campus for both student and faculty movement, getting them to and from. It's $125. So keep this in mind. If you've got guests, family members that are coming in town, maybe staying in some of those areas, what a great, easy way. And you can make a reservation in advance for scheduling your pickup and your drop-off time. Next slide is really our last slide, and this highlights our master plan work. So you see on the aerial for the Lansing Airport, everything in the yellow is owned by the airport. That's that little over 2,000 acres of land. And part of the master plan is looking at our runways, our cross runway, our apron, land use, looking at that land on the north side, where can we establish some opportunities for some light manufacturing, multi-use type facilities that could be established within those areas. But just to share, we're looking at the future. It's making sure that we've got the infrastructure to support it, from maintaining our existing facilities, using dollars that we have now to invest into key initiatives that last us for a good 20, 30 years down the road. And that's my presentation. Love any questions you guys might have.
Commissioner Moudry.
Nicole, I'm going to give you a bullet point I want you to talk to.
Yeah.
We had some cooperation between Catherine and myself for the youth
Oh, yeah, yep.
Want to talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's a priority to me. I mean, if somebody asked me today, what was one of the most exciting things that I've been able to accomplish over the last 4.5 years, I tell you, it's that partnership with Dr. Sean Williams, and really focusing on those youth and how do we get them more engaged in aviation. And to do that is we got to look at other ways. How do we tie in group tours, youth tours, get them the opportunity to see people in these roles, as well as getting tours of MDOT facilities to our ARF facilities, our aircraft firefighting facilities, our maintenance facilities. But establishing those opportunities and really opening up the doors to kids is important to trigger the idea that aviation is a path that they could take and have a career. But I'm assuming that's the tour that Catherine helped to coordinate. And we would love to support any of your groups that you might have. I shouldn't say any, because when we get too little peanuts, it becomes a little bit more of a chaos. We're really looking at that 5th grade up has really been that sweet spot where the kids are starting to get engaged and a little bit more interested in what they might want to do. So thank you.
I believe that the kids were excited about going to the airport.
Yeah.
I think staff was also excited about
Yeah.
going there.
We've got a great program now. Everybody plays a role, so this doesn't become a burden for one staff member. We all play a role in times that we can, whether it's Catherine providing a presentation about the careers and opportunities that are available in aviation, to our public safety Chief Gonzalez coming over with some of our firefighting equipment that's a little bit different and unique than what you would see on the street. So I know we'll be participating in Silver Bells, so if you're attending Silver Bells on Friday, you'll probably see our fire truck in the parade. But ways to get folks interested and engaged, we have to open up the doors and allow them to come in and experience and be educated and aware of the career opportunities that are there and available. So thank you.
Now, I attended the graduation ceremonies of the LCC students down in Mason.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, the place, the hangar where it was, there was so much excitement. The kids, the young adults.
I did the same thing,
Yep.
so, yeah.
And the parents and the facility staff and teachers.
Yeah.
There was a lot, you could just feel the energy.
There's a lot of passion. It's 2 years, and those instructors, they've got, jobs in the industry, and they're coming there and they're, teaching the next generation of mechanics, and it becomes personal. And it's, it's when you're done, there's a great career opportunity for people to be able to start a family and have an income that helps to support that.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. Yeah.
Commissioner Wright.
Commissioner Mudray and I both are on Capillary Michigan Works. A lot of times I understand that they've had like the career day for the students to come in.
Yep.
They put them in 2 different sets of times from different schools.
Yep.
But this year they're not going to do it. They're just not doing it. But
Yep.
were you part of that last year over at the Lansing Center? It was huge.
It was huge. We weren't able to participate last year, but Carrie Rosengana, who's fantastic, that runs the Michigan Works program, we've had ongoing conversations. We were hoping to participate this year, knowing it was postponed. Hopefully next year they'll have a program back up and running. But with the amount of cuts and changes that they experienced, that was one of those programs they had to set aside. So. But again, we try to reach out to folks and create opportunities, and we're looking at some events this next year that'll really be behind the scenes for the entire public. So as more details will come together, Mark will help us kind of share those details, but we'll get it out on social media and when dates are firm, on a little bit more behind the scenes, allowing general public to come out to the airport.
The Rosie the Riveter
Oh, yes.
thing was fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to
for
that.
those that were able to attend, Rosie the Riveter, really looking at supporting those women that were involved in manufacturing of aircrafts. The group had asked if they could hold the event at the Lansing Airport, and of course, we wanted to work with them. I think We'll have it again this next year. I think we're to a point, if they grow much more, we won't be able to house them at the airport. So they'll probably have to start looking at some other avenues. But to have some of those aircrafts that were there, it was beautiful, great turnout, and we hope to continue with that partnership. Yeah.
All right, any other questions? So with the advent of this being an international airport, when will the name change come about?
Well, it is Capital Region International Airport. That occurred back in, I think it was right around that 2009, right when it occurred, because it was Capital City Airport before that. From there, I don't know when there'll be any additional adjustments to the name. There's been a lot of inquiries about changing the name to something else, but I don't see the benefit today to spend the amount of money that would be needed when we're talking over millions. By the time you start changing uniforms and you start changing logos on our public safety vehicles to marketing advertisement, that right now just does not justify. So I have not been in support of making any changes. It doesn't mean it may not happen in the future, but that is not the priority right now.
All right.
My goal is I need all of the folks within Ingham, Eaton, and Clinton County putting their butts in the seats of the planes out of here. If you want new service, if you want new destinations, if you want more frequency, it's all about supporting the carriers that are here, because they're not going to grow. I brought them here, right? They're here. Now I need all of you guys to use them. And if you want different destinations, the airlines have to make money. Otherwise, they're going to turn around, and it's not just picking up a business. It's not picking up a manufacturer. They're flying their plane just to another state and providing it to a different community. So we need to prove it, that we have a need for more destinations. And it goes back to, I need you to look at Lansing first, fly Lansing first. Yeah.
I've flown, I for one, when I fly, try to definitely use Lansing.
Yep.
Okay, because I can get easy drop off from somebody I know and easy pickup.
Yeah.
So, but I flew United several times, and I don't see United on your list.
Yeah, United pulled out of the market back during the pilot shortage right in 21. United went through a span and eliminated service in 9 different markets, similar to the Lansing size. 2 weeks later, Delta did the same thing in different markets than where United did, and American did the same thing in different markets that American or United and Delta didn't. So they kind of shared the love, which is not very good. But there's a lot of discussions and conversations that I'm having with United and all carriers, like JetBlue, like expanded service with Delta or American or Sun Country or Allegiant. All these conversations are always happening, and United is looking at some expansion in certain markets, and Lansing is part of their discussion.
I've flown several different airlines, so
Yep.
I get online and see what I can put together for a ticket, and I call them up and book my flight.
Well, soon, it's not today, but soon we'll have a booking widget, a booking tool that's going to be available on the flylansing.com website. So you can actually see what the airfares are, and they'll highlight also great deals. So before the end of the year, this new booking tool will be available and be another resource for looking for options that are available. Because it's getting folks to realize you can go to here to LA. You can be from here and go to San Francisco. You can go here and go to Fort Lauderdale. Easy connections, and that's the convenience of these legacy carriers, is getting you through hubs with lots of frequency.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you for your report.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
All right, moving on, we are now at limited public comment. If you'd like to speak to the commissioners about any topic, you have step to the podium, state your name, your address, and you've got 3 minutes.
My name is Brett Ramey. I live at 216 South Pease Road, at Vermontville, and I'm also the Calamville Township Supervisor, but probably many of you already know that. Planning and zoning, from what I understand, is going to be voted on to extend it for 6 months to give us a chance to get our ducks in a row so we can take it on ourselves. I think that's the very least you guys can do. We have a lot of people out here chomping at the bit, thinking they're gonna start some businesses, move trailers in, do some weird land divisions because there's gonna be a lapse in planning and zoning for a few months, and I hope that's not the case. Speaking of that, one reason I keep hearing about why it's getting cut is because other counties don't fund it, so we don't have to fund it either. And I've seen a very inaccurate map shared on Facebook a number of times with the state of Michigan showing who does their planning and zoning and who doesn't. Just because it's on Facebook doesn't mean it's true. I know it's hard to believe. Going to MSU Extension, that funding was cut, and our commissioner, who comes to every one of our meetings, keeps us up to date, said last month that he did some research and he was really surprised on what Extension did in the county. It's not just 4-H, it's helping families. It's helping families learn how to take care of their kids, learning how to cook, learning how to budget, helps farmers with soil testing, plant recommendations, that sort of thing. And he was really surprised on how much they actually did, and it's too bad that wasn't researched a little bit before it was cut. Same thing with the road patrol. I cannot remember the last time I saw a sheriff's deputy car on the west side of Eaton County. And same thing. We don't have to fund road patrol, so we're not going to. And through my research, I stumbled across a little bit of information. Does anybody know how many commissioners a county can have? Up to 21, depending on your population, but a county's only required to have 5. Calhoun County can get the job done with 7, Hillsdale with 7, St. Joseph with 7, Van Buren with 7, Clinton with 7, Gratiot with 7, Livingston with 9, Monroe with 9, Berry with 8, Ionia with 7. There's some that have more, but I would rather see a smaller commission, save money, and have a police officer available in our township every once in a while. Ionia Road through Calmo is a racetrack. We've got, and I was a farmer 35 years, but we've got semis going through there 50 miles an hour with kids out. It's not safe. I just think that's something that should be considered. If you don't have to pay people, we seem to be in the mood of only funding what we absolutely have to. How much would it cost or save if we downsize the commission by 5 or 10 members? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joel Watson. I live at 2540 Cunningham Drive, Lansing, Michigan. I am here because I represent a great organization called Reach the Forgotten. I am the new chaplain at the jail in Eaton County. I'm here to really just introduce myself to you so you know what we do, because we have been, because of COVID, we were shut down for a little while. Now we're back up and we're running. We're running programs that is helping the people in this community. And I want you to know that the Reach the Forgotten, we have done some great things. We have, because of the bed capacity here, we have 374 beds at this house here. We have about 188 people that go through at any given time. But because people are going through our program, the recidivist rate has really gone down. We have seen where it has happened that when they come to our programs and they get out of the programs, we have like a 25% chance of them not coming back into the facility. And that's what we're looking to do, make sure no one comes back after they come in. These men and women, they just have a hard time sometimes. All of us have these issues, and probably you know somebody has been in that situation. But what we're trying to do with Reach the Forgotten is to give them an opportunity to get some spiritual help as well as some natural help. And we have come to find that this has been a program that has worked very well. I have been in this type of ministry for over 30 years. I know I don't look like it, I know. But I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been even in the juvenile homes, I'm there. And I know that the spiritual part also helps because it gives them a new focus, a new challenge, and then they begin to work to that. And I just, again, my name is Joel Watson, and I just want you to know that I am part of this community. I know you say, but you live in Lansing. I know that. But the fact that I'm in Ingham County, I started in Ingham County, and that's where I started from. And then then the opportunity came for me to be at Eaton, and I took full advantage of it because this is part of my calling, part of what God has called me to do, because I know that it's first natural, but then it is some spiritual part that we have to be part of. Now, I'm trying to read these notes, and y'all to make sure if my wife called you, tell her that I did look down a couple times. If you can do that, because I'm getting a lot of trouble if I don't do this. If we can get some volunteers, we do Bible distributing, one-on-one Bible mentoring, Bible studies, book cart library, worship service, pastoral visits, and reentry alliance and support. We are really trying to make an impact into this community. We're trying to make sure that everyone in this community get an opportunity, because what has happened is behind these walls, people drive by this all the time and don't even realize it's something back there. They don't realize it's a jail. Also, the deputies who work in that facility, wonderful individuals I've had an opportunity to meet, they get forgotten back there also. So once again, my name is Joel Watson, and I thank you for this opportunity to present before you today. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them. I don't know, how do you give a preacher 3 minutes? I just don't know how you do that.
Yeah, we can't take questions during public comments, but if you're around after the meeting, certainly.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and y'all have a great night.
Thank you and welcome.
Marlena Bernheisel, 4278 Benton Road. And I recently became aware of an organization called Starting Over for Success. And it's pretty much exactly what that gentleman just said. And it's talking about recidivism and people not going back to prison. And it's an organization that's currently working in Berry County. And I really would appreciate it if we could get it to Eaton County as well. And it's a group of people that are donating their time as far as like contacting employers to try to get felons, ex-felons, jobs and housing and support. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
Hi, I'm Jack Owens from Vermontville Township, Vermontville Township Supervisor. I just want to make a couple of comments on some things, and it seems like an odd thing to say, but I feel like the outerlying townships really got left behind with the budget cuts. One of the two major things is Brett was talking about road patrols. He's absolutely right. But the thing that's most critical to me is we pulled the officers out of the schools. And I have grandkids going to Maple Valley schools. Do you know there's no officers whatsoever there? And I don't know how that would look on the headlines that Eaton County Commissioners, through a vote, pulled the security out of the schools because of budget cuts. Somehow that does not make sense to me. Second of all, talking about the zoning has been around for, I think, 40 years, maybe 50 years, something like that. That also seems a little bit odd to me that we took that away from the small townships. Now, how are we supposed to get the money up to be able to hire our own people to do zoning? And also with the communication that's been, we're not even sure if that's what we're gonna do or if we will do something along with the county. But it's been all over the place. But I just wanted to mention those two things to me that seem very, very important that I don't think's getting a lot of attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, there will be a second opportunity near the conclusion of our meeting this evening. And moving on, we are into committee reports and resolutions. And first, Commissioner Barber with Public Works and Human Services Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First thing I got is a zoning map amendment. I move.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion on this? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, thank you, everyone. Next item.
All right, so the second one is a resolution to authorize the application of a DNR grant for fishery habitat at Crandall Lake. I move.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, thank you.
All right, my last one is a resolution to appoint the Deputy County Medical Examiner. I move.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Barber. Next item on our agenda is, under 9, is item B, Public Safety Committee with Commissioner Holmes.
Okay, we had our meeting on November 6, 2025. We have some action items for the Major Crimes Task Force Approval Mutual Aid Agreement. And I believe Sheriff Reich will come give details to those who were at the public safety.
All right.
There's actually 2 resolutions on here. This first one is the Major Task Force Agreement. Due to the cuts that the county had with the road patrol, our chiefs meeting that we have used to be every quarter, but now it's every month. They've come up with an idea to do a major task force on major crimes. So if a major crime should occur, let's say in Charlotte, the departments that are signing this mutual agreement would either have somebody available to assist that department in the investigation. In this case, we're not using Delta people. This would be, I could assign the chief deputy, myself, the undersheriff, or captain that I currently have at the county. If I don't have those folks available, then I don't send anybody. It's not a requirement, but if I do have someone available, I will assign to assist that department with a major crime. That's basically what this agreement is.
All right, do we have a motion?
I would move that motion.
Moved and supported. Do we have any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, thank you, Sheriff.
There's next, the approval of the mutual aid agreement. Was that,
Very similar to the major task force. Elk County doesn't have any road patrol. We used to assist, like, for instance, Charlotte with their Frontier Days, or Eaton Rapids with their 4th of July fireworks. This would bring other officers to their jurisdiction for assistance with security. If I don't have anybody again, I can't send anybody. So it's just a mutual aid that if this should happen, and if I do have someone available, I can send them to assist that department.
I would move this resolution.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion, comments, questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposition?
Number 3 is a resolution that's on the agenda that the sheriff will speak to that.
That's the, I believe that's the agreement with Maple Valley. Is that correct, Connie?
It's the mutual aid
Nashville.
agreement with Village of Nashville, but it has ties to Maple Valley Schools.
Okay. I understand their dilemma because of the cuts that we've had. We used to have an SRO who was trained to facilitate their needs at Maple Valley Schools. I have concerns with this agreement. And next week, we are meeting with the superintendent at Maple Valley to discuss these concerns. My SRO that was assigned there was trained to be an SRO, to handle certain situations, and I need to discuss with the superintendent what we're going to do, because I'm concerned with liability and everything else that goes along with signing this agreement. So bear with me. We'll get some more details when we speak with the superintendent.
I'll just add one other thing. There's 2 components to this. One is mutual aid, which is something totally different than the sheriff actually deputizing another officer from an agency in which he has no control over what their training is. That would be the concern that the sheriff would have for those officers to act as deputies without him providing that training. So that's the meeting that he will have with the superintendent. I will state that we have also been working with Windsor Township, and hopefully we can have something come together quickly, and Oneida Township to try to bridge a contract that would meet their needs. Our hope in discussing all of this would be that we can then turn around and potentially utilize some of those hours to assist Maple Valley and potentially the contract we previously had with the Village of Vermontville. So if there's a way for us to put all of that together in a nice, neat package that they can share the resources. So I'll give you just an example, not to get into, the deep, dark discussions, but Windsor Township has had a deputy. So they had a full-time deputy that was assigned over there. They didn't have a backup deputy. They had a full-time deputy. That deputy's off on vacation, then they don't have the deputy. Now, if there's a call, obviously our deputies were responding. So that contract ends December 31st. Oneida Township had an agreement with up to a dollar amount. And what Oneida wanted, and the sheriff can explain more, they really wanted to provide a presence where people actually see there are officers patrolling at certain times. That was their need. So that was done through an agreement of a certain number of hours that worked out to not over, and I want to say it's $35,000 to $40,000 is what they had agreed to. Okay, so that's capped. All of that was done via overtime. Windsor paid 100%. Windsor's contract was based on the old model that Delta Township paid, the SEV credit that they were getting. That's how it was done. Obviously, we're outside of that model. So the discussion is, how do we put that information, or how do we put that together in a package that doesn't cost all the entities the same amount of money by providing each entity with an officer, the cost of the administration fee, the cost of command services, and everything else that goes along with it, which is how the Delta contract was done. Delta contract was done in a way in which the county was not paying anything. And then we settle at the end of the year, certain timing, and if there's money left over, that money is credited to Delta. That's the intent to do with all of the other entities. It goes along with what we were talking about with the planning and zoning. We would have done the same thing. But it's all based on trying to get everything to work together. So the sheriff, I can steal something that he used to say when we went to meetings was, I have a dream. His was a little bit different, but it would be that we can do this, that we can continue to provide services, but under a model that covers the cost that the board was forced to eliminate, the action that was taken. So that's the goal. That's what we'll try to work toward. I know the sheriff is really committed to doing this, but again, falling into time and trying to get all of these things together in the meetings that he's had to have, we're having to have are difficult, but we're getting very close. So hopefully that answers some more questions on what our intent would be.
If I may, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Any questions for the sheriff?
Yeah. Well, my concern is I'm looking at 3 different resolutions for mutual aid, which are going to take some type of supervision.
So
You have Delta paying for supervision, in fact, additional
So
rank.
just to explain
supervision.
mutual aid. So the mutual aid, and I am no law enforcement official, so correct me. Mutual aid has existed in the county. The sheriff, when he originally was elected in 2013, he had a mutual aid agreement with all of the locals. That is still in effect.
Okay.
I mean, you just approve this new one, which would replace it. So all the parties have changed in all of these municipalities, so we're looking at updating it so everybody knows what we're doing. All the community knows, all the police chiefs know, and the sheriff knows. Remember, the sheriff is responsible for the entire county. His authority, I should say, is over the entire county. Those local units, cities, they do not have that capability. So them being able to respond, that's the difference here. So it's more beneficial, if I'm correct, Sheriff, for those entities to be able to assist one another. That makes sense. This does not have anything to do with changing the supervision or the contractual agreements. And I want to note, and the sheriff himself included, any event that occurs that is emergent, they're all going.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all going. So that's not really mutual aid. Mutual aid is something that may not be as much of a threat that they could assist. The sheriff doesn't have to send anyone. Also, with the major crimes task force, as he said, the sheriff doesn't have to send anyone. This will not impact anything to do with Delta or supervision, and the reality is the sheriff is the ultimate supervisor, so that's what he would be doing, is assigning somebody, and including himself. That's what we agreed to, that you were going to do that, right?
I remember too, with the Maple Valley schools, when they had an officer there, because they requested it. Am I right that Waverly is paying for their own and Delta has agreed to do the supervision
Okay.
of the person that's assigned at Waverly schools?
Who is the person?
No, I said I am aware
Yes.
that we had conversations that Waverly would still have a contract,
Okay.
pay for the cost, but be supervised with one of the supervision from the Delta substation.
So again, I try not to speak for the township, but in all the meetings that we had, the reality with Waverly does pay for the SRO. That contract will end in July of '26. They are doing it via grant funds. So that's how they're doing it. The reason that Delta would cover the supervision is, one, it's in Delta Township. And what happens if that SRO is not there to respond to something?
They still have to go.
All officers are going.
Yep.
So the resources are still coming from Delta Township. So that's not impacting, it's actually saving Delta with Waverly paying for that. When that grant expires, then Waverly will have to consider if they can, one, get another grant. If they cannot, then they'll have to consider what they can pay. Over the course of several years and meetings that I've had 10 years ago, there was discussion with Waverly. They've wanted to do this for years, but there was not the funding. So that's what ends up happening. We get into the funding discussions. Unfortunately, the funding became available due to a crisis. The state had the funding, and that's how they received those funds, and this occurred. Does that help?
It does.
Thank you.
Pascal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to kind of bring it back towards Nashville here. I guess with so much in limbo right now with the different contracts and negotiations, would it make sense to send this resolution back to public safety and kind of wait for those to play itself out? Or is this needed imminently now?
Well, so the sheriff is telling you today, which he wanted to discuss rather than strike it from the agenda, that he is not willing to do this.
Okay.
And remember, this authority as a constitutional officer rests with him. He doesn't have to do any contract at all. He looks at the safety of his officers and the safety of the public, and that's his concern. So meeting with the school is his way of trying to find another solution and to discuss what we're trying to do with the other entities that had contracts previously. So that's that. There's no need to put it back, but if there's something that we can work out contractually, it will come back to you. But it'll come back with the Windsor, with Oneida, and hopefully in a group like that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So it's actually an item that we table to a certain time?
You just don't take any action on it because the sheriff is
okay.
telling you that he won't agree
Okay.
to it.
So if we don't have a motion on the floor, then we can.
Right, yeah.
Commissioner Shaver.
So Sheriff, does this mean that Nashville can't respond right now if there is an incident at Maple Valley School?
No, they absolutely can respond. If there's an incident at the school, they can respond. They're close.
Right, I understand that.
They can respond.
Yes.
They've always been able to
So
respond.
this isn't limiting any, just for the public to understand, this isn't limiting anything, any sort of emergency response. We're not tying anybody's hands.
Correct.
And this is something that you're going to try to negotiate, something better with the school. Okay, thank you.
Other thing that I'd just like to add, can you just explain as far as your officers and the SRO, what do they do? I mean, Waverly obviously is full-time, but as far as Maple Valley, it was scheduled days, and a few years ago, Berry County actually had an officer in there. Berry County right now does not have the resources to do that. But can you just explain what that does and how a school could potentially get grant funding, or how a school could end up hiring a private security firm to meet the needs of the daily situations that occur, and then police response would come? Okay.
The SRO that we had assigned at Maple Valley was there full-time. He attended special events, basketball, football, homecomings. He provided security for the school. He wrote a security plan for the school. He took care of issues that came up. He was a guy that had different hats, a counselor, police officer, parent, you name it, he did it. The SROs that we had there did an excellent job, and the school was very thankful for it. It saddens me that we had to take it out because of the budget, but we had no choice. Does Maple Valley have other choices? Yes. Have they contacted Michigan State Police? We used to be the first responder for the county. Now we're not. MSP took that role now. They're the first responder. Have they talked to them about an SRO or having someone local during school hours? I don't know. That's one of the things we're going to discuss. Did they talk to a private security firm? I don't think they've done that either. But there are options. There's grants that they can apply for, but my understanding, they don't want to do that because there's restrictions on the grant. So, I mean, is this my fault? No. Is it your fault? No. This could have been resolved. Maybe Maple Valley could have done something with the millages that we had. Maybe they could have been very supportive publicly and let everybody know, hey, let's vote yes on this because this is what's going to happen. We told them what was going to happen, but people still voted no. So who's to blame? Not me, not the commissioners, not the controller's office. We did everything we could. So I'm venting a little bit, but that's okay. I'm very discouraged. I have a great department. And in response to supervisor at Calno Township, it's true. You probably didn't see a police officer for years because I've been running a skeleton crew for years. We run from call to call to call to call when we were in the Elk County. So I apologize for that. I would love to have the road patrol back in the Elk County to serve the people that voted me in. So that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any other questions? All right. I will ask for a motion. It's up to you to respond. Is there a motion on the floor?
The sheriff is not agreeing to do mutual aid right now. So you making a motion, it still falls on him, so doesn't make sense to do it. Yeah.
It's a formality. I still have to
Yes.
ask.
Okay, sorry.
And seeing no motion, this will stay here.
Item number 4 is a Community Corrections Advisory Board appointment. I would move this appointment motion.
Moved and supported. Do we have any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion is passed.
That would conclude my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Holmes. Well, now it's my turn for Ways and Means. Let me change a couple pages here. All right. We had our Ways and Means meeting on November the 14th. And the first item we have was approval of the 2025 apportionment report. And I would move this report. Okay. Any discussion, questions? Tim has something to say. Good evening, Tim.
Yeah, we had to revise a few things on the enforcement report after reviewing everything. Mainly the Lansing Community College millage had to be corrected to 3.7611. And then there were some other minor corrections, so I just want to point that out. And there was quite a few calculations that had to be done due to the fact that Headley rollbacks affected quite a few millages. Also, the CATA transit millage was 2.9886. So I just want to point that out, that it was revised slightly. Any questions on this report?
I've got a question for you, Tim. Just what is an apportionment report?
Apportionment report is something that's required by the state, where the equalization department has to review all the tax rates based on the 4029s that we received and based on the calculations of the Headley rollbacks, and then that is submitted to the state, and that is required for winter tax collection.
Thank you. Any questions for Tim? All right, thank you, Tim.
Yep.
Any other discussion on this, the apportionment report? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? All right. Item number 2 is resolution to renew appointment of designated assessor and approve designated assessor interlocal agreement. Long title.
Yeah, we're still working on that. The signatures have been kind of slow. This is a renewal from what was done 5 years ago. Under Public Act 660, the equalization director has been the designated assessor since 2020. So far, we've got signatures from 9 municipalities out of the 12 that's required. We did get confirmation from Benton Township. We also talked to the city of Potterville. So we're still working on some of the, part of the problem is the information's coming via mail, which is kind of slow. So we are still working on that, so it's not quite ready at this time.
Okay. We still need to move forward with this resolution though, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I would move this resolution. Moved and supported. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? All right, thank you, everyone. Item 4, MERS Group Amortization Extension.
Oh, we have the, sorry, one more remonumentation representative.
Or did I
contract
skip
that
one?
Tim really
Oh, I'm
wants to
sorry.
talk about again.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim.
We've been working on the agreement. We had 2 proposals from our current surveyors that are on the remonumentation program, Ryan Miller and Gil Barish. One was at $150 an hour, and the other one was at $170 an hour for a county representative to represent the county, starting out pretty soon. And we did get information on the grant. The grant is now $54,787 for this year. So that would cap the contract at $13,696, which is 25% of that total. I did talk to Ryan quite a bit, and he's excited about the opportunity to take over for Ron Lester, who's retiring now. And the program is now getting into the end of the first phase. The first phase is almost done. We should have that, they should have that done this next year, and then they're gonna get into the maintenance part of it pretty soon.
All right. Thank you, Tim. We had a very thorough report on remonumentation at the Ways and Means last Friday. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments? This has been a long haul on this, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
And we're not done yet. All right.
Well, apparently some of the markers have been moved for various reasons. A lot of people don't know that those markers are important. You got 36 sections in each jurisdictions, basically, and then you have the corner posts that are in those along the corners of those sections. So basically, that is important to keep maintaining that information, make sure it's in the proper location. And it does help with making surveys a lot cheaper because it gives them a good marker to mark off when they do the surveys.
And the ones I'm familiar with are just a little piece of black pipe with an orange cap on the top.
Yeah, and if you go back in history, in the old chains that they were using in the old days, 100 years ago, they're pretty accurate for the equipment that they had, but there was a lot of situations where things had to be fixed, and so that's what the randomization program is doing, basically.
All right, thank you. So moved and supported. Any other discussion? Okay, well, I would move this resolution. Okay, now it's moved and supported. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposition? All right, now to item 4.
Thank you.
MERS, thank you, Tim. MERS Group's amortization extension.
Okay, during the budget process and during the development of contracts with Delta Township and then the county trying to assess the increasing costs with our MERS rates, annual rates, we were informed by MERS that we could extend the amortization by 5 years for certain groups. It required an influx of cash, so Delta Township contributed $2 million of cash that was deposited to MERS. The county contributed $1 million of cash to MERS to be able to, the primary one is Group 2, Division 2, which is Sheriff's Supervisory, and I will point out if you look on your screen that the budgeted rates for 25-26 is 140% of their payroll. So it's 140% of their payroll. That's 1.5. It's a lot. So the rates effective without the amortization that we are paying effective 10/1/25, that's the 140. The 10/1/26 without an extension, MERS had already calculated through our valuation that it would be 135. And I'm focusing on the largest one because this is the most troubling and one that we need to get under control. By doing this extension and the money that was put in, the $3 million, it drops that down to 111. So to go from this year in the budget, paying 140% down to 111, puts us in a better position to fund other items we need to fund. But I will say, under the financial stability that the county is attempting strongly to do, and the direction that's been given, it is not to take specific savings and spend it. It's to take any savings such as this and responsibly reinvest it into the funds to continue to draw that down. Because we're still subject to an actuarial valuation every year. We don't know what happens with the market. We don't know what happens to the length of lives for your retirees, so on and so forth. And we've seen over the years, the valuations have changed, not to the betterment of the county's financial situation, but it's not because the county hasn't paid its full share, and it's not because the county hasn't put in additional monies. So you're subject to, the rules that guide the MERS board and also state rules under PA 202. And under PA 202, the county has to be funded at least 60%, or we have to have a plan to pay down, get that back. This has nothing to do with the plan. This is the county and the board initiating a way to address these concerns going forward. So I consider this to be a proactive approach to the lack of work that was done for years from previous boards. Again, not trying to be negative, but that's really what's happened. One, because we have not had the ability to put in additional funds. And with all the budget cuts that we did and what everyone spoke to is that you have to have stability going forward, these are the ways that we can do that. So what we're asking is for the groups that are listed here to extend the time period out 5 years. And then we'll continue, again, to monitor it. But MERS requires that we do this in order to have those rates effective 10/1/26 reduced. There are 2 groups we're unable to do this with, and one is the dispatch supervisory unit. The other is animal control. And that's basically due to animal control right now having 1 employee, and that's it, contributing to it. We contributed the additional MERS payment for the vacancies that we have, again, trying to stay ahead of it, which is what I've been doing all year and the last year. So this is what, I mean, these are the groups that we can do, and this is what staff is recommending, and it's what MERS has calculated, and hopefully it holds true into the future.
Okay.
I'd ask that you approve the resolution, or the agreement that's attached, if you scroll down one, Logan.
Okay. Well,
That's the extension.
But I will, so
I'm asking you to, nicely.
I would move this extension. Moved and supported. Do we have any discussion on it? Yeah, Commissioner Shaver.
Could we just speak to what was mentioned in the Ways and Means meeting, just for the public? I know probably more people are watching this than did Ways and Means during the business day on Friday, but it was my understanding from that meeting that, like you referenced, the Public Act 202, it's really constricting MERS to be able to calculate their our contributions in such a way that we may reach a point in, let's say, a decade where these will change because we may actually be overfunded, even though
Correct.
right now we're underfunded.
Yes, correct. There's a lot of things in motion there. You are 100% correct. If we were overfunded, we could start seeing credits. Obviously, if you look at our funding levels, you're not going to see that for a long time, but 100% what you're saying is true. We're trying to get to that point. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. I missed one of your other questions, your first question.
Well, I mean, one of the things that could change, wouldn't change at this level. The state could
Right.
change the way things are calculated,
Sorry.
which may make things more fair. I just
Oh,
want people to
yeah.
understand their government.
Under PA 202, those have specific restrictions that were put into place so that employers, and it was primarily, if you remember, school systems, that the pension system was underfunded, and then we started seeing more and more of that. City of Detroit was one that went bankrupt due to pension funding. So they instituted these rules, right? MERS, kind of prior to that and in conjunction, has their own financial stability requirements. And to MERS credit, they're trying to say to municipalities and to the public that you can't continue to have these benefits just grow and not pay enough money into it. So at any time, MERS can change what their model is. And it's simple things such as how long somebody's living. It's related to what happens in the market. But MERS has also done something where they smooth the rate. So if we have a really bad year, they'll smooth that over a period of time so that we don't get hit as hard as we used to. Because if they didn't, if we have a bad market year, if they didn't, we would then be funded potentially down to 50%. And now we're back on a plan that we have to present to the state on how we're going to get back up to the 60%. So yes, there are a lot of things that can change. I have watched MERS over the years stay the same. It's not like the county has not contributed. County's done what they're supposed to do. The only thing we haven't been able to do is to put in millions of dollars to make these changes. But yes, you're very valid. We can't predict exactly what will happen, but
It could move in a positive direction. It is.
I'm positively happy that it's going to move in a positive way.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Oh, Commissioner Wright.
A few of the changes at MERS is though, is they reduce the amount of years involved in the smoothing. They also reduce the expectations of return on investments together. So that also changed what our liability was.
Yes, and that will impact us in the future valuation. So those are the things that change.
Yeah.
Smoothing does help, but yeah, reducing it. And it's every 5 years that they revisit that to make sure that they are in line with what's really happening. But that is the thing that's frustrating. So I will say this. Eaton County attempted to have something like this occur before we got to the funding issue and asking for the 2 ballot proposals. We asked for extending the amortization. What can we do? Can we keep deputies on the road? What can we do to take care of this? That was a no. And it's based on, you have to provide additional funding. It's also based on, they're going to look at your overall funding. They're going to look at each individual group's funding. We were told we couldn't do that. And I appreciate MERS for doing this, but the day after the November proposal failed, we received a call. We want to try to do something. So, I mean, we have to give credit to MERS for that, but it took an influx of money, but they agreed to evaluate it. So that's why we're here. So I appreciate all of that happening. There's an awful lot that's happened over the years to the county, to funding, to other municipalities, but we've done the best that we can, and the hope is that it will get better into the future, more and more and more.
I also want to bring up something else that MERS has done. They've reduced it so that the multiplier, I believe, is maxed out at 2.75 versus when it was offered at 3.2.
For county employees here? No, so 3.2 was available to the sheriff groups and to the dispatch groups. They had the 3.2% multiplier.
Right.
That was put into place back in 1997, 98. That was reduced to 2%.
Oh, yeah, but what I'm saying is in between that, MERS tried to do something to also rein in the 3.2 multiplier obligation, and they had reduced it to 2.75, because when I was at the first MERS conference in Grand Rapids, I went to the amortization breakout, and they handed us a Excel sheet, and I asked them, how come this only goes to 2.75? And they go, that's what we offer now.
Well, they may, yes, they may offer that now as the max.
Yeah,
But you
as the max.
still had union groups under 312 arbitration.
Yeah.
That were able to do the 3.2.
Correct.
So we had to bargain that out. And again, I will say, because we have one command officer that's sitting here and multiple deputies that are listening, that was a really traumatic situation for them.
Yes.
Chief deputy. I'm pointing to Al, and he's hiding behind the sheriff. I mean, that was a big change for them.
It was.
But it is a financial savings for Eaton County and a future savings for Eaton County. It is something that should have happened years ago, and it just didn't. There were things that we could have done. I say the same thing with the MERS, or the retirees' health that we have. Staff made recommendations back in 1996 that we cut that off. And do a healthcare savings plan or another option and not offer that to any new hires. That didn't happen. So we're dealing again with those legacy costs that are not, again, the fault of the employees that are here right now.
No?
I always just have to say that because it's not the employee's situation, it is the old legacy costs.
Any further discussion? All right. Well, I would move this extension. And we got support, so support, all right. No more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? And I'm hoping we didn't need a roll call vote on that.
No.
Okay. Next item, the county still has to pay our bills, county claims and purchases, so I would move this forward. Moved and supported. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. And lastly, item 6, resolution to approve 25-26 budget amendments. And I would move this resolution. Okay, any discussion?
Do we want to have, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, do we want to have, you do?
Commissioner Barber.
Yes, I would just like to comment on the letter that the administration put in the packet. I agree with this budget amendment. However, I don't agree with the language that they put in this memo several times. They put June 30th several times, and if any of the public sees it, and they just look at this, they're going to be misled that the planning and zoning, especially this last line, 6/30/25, which should be 26, but it says repeal zoning ordinances effective. I think that's the wrong thing to show these townships, because they're going to believe that that's the day the zoning ordinance is going to be appealed. I know we've had a discussion, and that it's going to go back to Public Works, and we'll discuss that. However, it's on a piece of paper right now that the public can see, and when we decide it's not going to end on 6/30, they're going to say, well, communication, you lied to us, you told us it was going to be 6/30. That's just my comment.
Can I address that? Well, what I will say to that is what staff is recommending is not when you repeal the ordinance. Staff is telling you and telling the public that with the resources we have that are not general fund, so that is the application revenue that is coming in, that and the reduction of staff time as stated in the memo, that the max amount of time that we can financially, if the revenues stay the same as what our projection is to June 30. So we are telling you as Ways and Means and as staff that this board can take action to say, with the budget amendment that you're approving, that it'll go through 6/30 without additional general fund cost. The other portion to the recommendation is for it to be evaluated by Public Works and Human Services. Public Works and Human Services can take action however they want. So the budget amendment is not tying your hands. Does it tell the public that we have money that we believe that we can run it to and potentially make it where they're going to say, why didn't you do it? Yes. But the question was, what amount of money do we need to extend it? And our recommendation as staff was that we would look at 6/30/26. Thank you. So that's what we're looking at. The other piece to this, can I go on? Okay. The other piece to this is related to the county having a grant that we have from MISTA. We received a $50,000 grant. $19,000 has been spent thus far to work on the county master plan. That's a lot of work that's been done that would be left sitting there. And we don't know if we would have to pay back that money to the state if we just end our master plan by giving up our ordinance. So the intent here would be any township within the county that is currently under our ordinance could use the county master plan and the current county ordinance modified to whatever they choose to do. If we can continue with that MISTA funding by asking them to amend it to allow us to assist and use the funds to do a master plan that would then apply. I mean, we can't get nitty-gritty in each of the townships, but that they could use to get them to the point where they either choose to go out on their own or to come together and do something, then all of those townships would benefit by that grant funding. The other piece to that, would be the county every year has set aside for years $6,000 into a comprehensive plan fund out of the general fund. So because we knew that the county is required to have a master plan and it's done every 5 years, we've established that budget. So it's in a special fund. It's still general fund monies that were contributed, but it sits there ready to do the master plan. We would have had to use that money to do this master plan, but because there's a grant that Brandy Miller worked hard to get, we're able to use the $50,000 given by the state. So the whole intent with that is if this consultant that Claudine and I had not met with until Friday afternoon after Ways and Means, that if that individual can assist in the MSHDA grant funding being allocated in a different manner, that they could assist and write a new contract with us as to how they would provide services, that the county could again use those funds, the $50,000, and any of that comprehensive plan funds to assist them to move on. Now, you can have a partnership where townships are paying a certain amount, but any of the townships going off on their own based on the discussion we had with the consultant could still use the work that was done by the county and expended with these funds. So that's where we're looking to go right now. So this recommendation would be for you to say to us, work to get that done, to get the MSHDA funding figured out, to work with that consultant. The consultant is very agreeable to work with the townships to bring in MTA and the Michigan Association of Planners to assist. MTA has a lawyer who is very well versed. The consultant is willing to bring that individual in and start having discussions, go to any township meetings that occur, and help them. But again, we could utilize the funds that we already have and not have to pay back that $50,000 or the $19,000 that's been spent thus far. So that's what staff's recommending. We are not recommending the date that you end the ordinance. Again, that's up to you. We are also not recommending spending any of that other money until we know what's on the table and what the consultant can do and how that would benefit each of the townships. So the goal is to get the townships to a point, June potentially would do that, where they would have the chance to do something on their own.
Commissioner Toomey.
Thank you. I do want to say, I do think Commissioner Barber is correct, though. That should be 26 on the second page of that.
We will change that.
Okay, just for, I know that there has been a lot of confusion on dates, but I think also, just if I remember correctly from Public Works, that we will be reviewing this again no matter what at the next Public Works meeting, correct?
Correct.
And so I think that, you know, what Connie's trying to say is that we would be able to set that date, but that 6/30/26 would be when we would have, if we want to extend it after that point, then we'd have to contribute additional funds. That's my understanding.
Correct. There's a lot of things at play. I'm saying today, based on the amount of money that has come in revenue this year, which is about $24,000 that's come in this year, if that, using the revenue projections from last year with the new fee revenue, we could bring in another 24/7. So with that, we can finance staff. It's all based on the fees. If something changes and the revenue reduces and we get nothing, obviously we would have to address it. But at this point right now, this budget amendment takes care of covering the costs, reducing employee staff time, so on and so forth.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Shaver.
I just think we need to remember as well that 1/4 of the county didn't have representation until last week. And we can talk about communication, and I know that there's been a lot of good communication with the townships, but communication's not just measured by what's said, but what's heard. And there's been a lot of confusion from several of the municipalities when it comes to dates and times and them understanding the transfer of expectations that would be onto them. I think it's very important that we give them a date. And I understand what Commissioner Barber's saying, and I understand that that side of things needs to go through committee. But this has already been through committee, and so it has my full support to give the communities that are at risk of being unzoned, if they don't continue to take the measures that they are, a date that would be reasonable, that the county could fund this through if the board should take that action. So I would, this would have my full support.
Anyone else? Commissioner Toomey?
Yeah, just before we vote, I do want to say I will be supporting this tonight in terms of moving the money around, but I fully reserve, and I'm sure everybody on Public Works reserves as well, to make that decision at that time of when this actually gets ended. That doesn't mean it's going to go all the way out to June 30th. So that's all I'd like to say, is that I definitely want to see more at the December meeting, so.
This is, again, this was just to tell you what money you had to spend.
Right, and I'm just saying that.
No, I want, yes, I agree. We're not to that point yet, but
Yeah, that we need to decide what that date, this is no guarantee of June 30th, is what I want to reiterate. This is moving the process along, and we will evaluate this in December.
And I know, Connie, you alluded to the revenue source, but specifically, what is the revenue source?
that we're funding this
Yes.
with. So it is with the, if you remember, this board had approved fee increases. So it is based solely on the application fees that come in. Conditional use permit fees, that is solely what it's based on. So when they, well, there's a couple of things. When they increase the fees, it obviously is going to increase some revenues. But what ended up happening beginning in October, when everything was, we're going to be done, when are we going to be done? People are scared. And what's going to happen, we want to get something done. So they all came forward, and I believe it was like 19 applications they received to get something done, because they didn't know what each individual township would do. So they spent the money to go ahead and do that and make sure that they had the current existing staff to do that. That potentially, we could get a bunch more, not knowing what townships would do. You could have people who don't do anything, right? They're going to wait and see what happens. So if there's more revenue that comes in, that's, again, more beneficial to the bottom line.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, we have a motion on the floor. We have support.
Support?
One more comment?
No.
Oh, okay.
You have a support.
All right.
Sorry.
All right, all those in favor of passing this budget resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, thank you, everyone. And that concludes my report. And now we're on to the administrator's report.
Where'd we put FOIA? Sorry. The very bottom, okay. Well, I'm going to make this very easily. You heard me talk enough tonight. I do not have a report. I gave you everything that's been going on within my office for the last month, so I'll save you that.
All right. Thank you. And now to elected officials' comments. If you're an elected official and you'd like to make a comment.
I'll be the broken record. Commissioners on the Out County, we need to think outside the box here and see how we can resolve the issue of not having any, or having law enforcement in the Out County. I think it's important to the people of this county to have proper law enforcement like they did 20, 30 years ago, having 5 or 6 deputies per shift. I was lucky to have 2 per shift and a sergeant until the budget cuts. So got to think outside the box here. We got to figure out, work with the townships and see what we can do to assist them, to restore that, as well as animal control. I think we all can work together and get this done, whether we have to work with contracts with cities or whatever, but I mean, the cities are losing law enforcement as well. We used to back up Charlotte City, Eaton Rapids, Olivet, Bellevue, Grand Ledge. We don't have that luxury anymore, or I should say, they don't have the luxury anymore to have us there. So that's all I have to say, and I hope we can work together, me, the commissioners, as well as the controller's office, to get this resolved. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Darius Raynette. I'm the Eaton County Treasurer. Just a brief item. I hope this news will be a little bit brighter. I think it's good news for at least the residents of the city of Eaton Rapids. My predecessor, Bob Robinson, created something called the Land Bank. And the purpose of that is to take blighted, abandoned properties and put them into productive uses. Ideally, if there's a house or something that's dilapidated, to get that fixed up or demolished and sell the lot and someone for another house or something like that. And we have had some success with that. Last week or so, a week or so ago, we had an announcement of our recent purchase of the Honer Mill in the city of Eaton Rapids, which for many years has been an eyesore and an attractive nuisance and a health hazard. That was a deal that was originally started by my predecessor. I kind of inherited it when I started the job in last January. And it had been owned by an investment company out west, and they were absentee owners, and there were some issues with the property not always being taken care of or the owners being neglectful. And this has been a long, drawn-out negotiation. And when you're involved in something, you tend to forget the basic details that you're familiar with but don't realize that everyone else is. When we put that press announcement or press release about that, I neglected to mention the price, and we've had some questions about that, and I apologize. I should have been more attuned about that. The whole agreement states that we bought the 6-acre facility for the price of $10. And in return for that, in addition to that, that the out-of-state company owes us the delinquent back taxes, which was $21,345. And that's since been paid. And I think there was additional $4,000 or $5,000, $4,000 or $5,000 that was owed to the city of Eaton Rapids for maintenance fees and I think taxes, something like that. So again, we bought the whole mill for $10 and received $21,345 in back taxes, which they were stiffing us on that and had no intention of paying. Obviously, the mill needs a lot of work, and we don't have any money for that. Our next stage in the process is to develop a plan working with the city of Eaton Rapids, along with public input, as what to do with the site. And at that point, once we get an idea, we're going to put forth a plan to look for state and federal grants. This is a long-term process, but it's my goal to at least do on an annual basis or have some kind of incremental change. And I'm looking at various things to do that. There's some outbuildings that I think we can take down, and we certainly fortify the security. But again, that's the purpose of the land bank, and I think eventually it will become a good, valued asset for the city of Eaton Rapids and the rest of the Eaton County. Thank you. Any other elected officials? No comment? All right, seeing none, thank you. Moving on to commissioner comment. Anyone like to make a comment, speak to anything going on? Commissioner Shaver.
Yeah, this is my first meeting, so I'm very happy to be here. I don't think that I'm afforded the luxury of easing into things too much with the way that things have transpired and the lack of representation that District 1's had over the last year. The austere measures that you all have had to take in the absence of that are absolutely necessary. But we have a responsibility to help transition into whatever the new normal is. And so I'm reminded as I'm listening to people, even tonight, that, you know, we're all one county. This is all one county, and we use terms that I understand, like out county and things like that, but we're really all one county. And the majority of Eaton County geographically is rural. And the rural areas have faced some pretty significant cuts that have had to be made, as I already mentioned. But we can do better. We can do better with the communication that people are receiving, and we must do better. To say that that the county doesn't want sheriff's coverage, I don't think is fair. I think that might be able to be something that's taken at face value from the past two millage proposals, but I think we can hear more than that. I think we can hear from some that they can't afford any more taxes. And I think some of us can understand that. I think we can understand from some others that maybe people don't trust the county as much as we wish that they did. And I think that we can improve that with communication and strategy going forward. I think we've got a lot of opportunities, and I'm looking forward to helping find solutions for some of these problems that are aforementioned, so that we can make Eaton County and each one of our districts a better place.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Commissioner Toomey.
Thank you. I just wanted to shout out a couple of events that are coming up. It is the holiday season, so the 2025 Dimondale Holiday Craft Show is going to be on, November 21st, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., as well as November 22nd, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Following that, there is the Dimondale Christmas tree lighting on November 23rd at 5 p.m., and that event will feature Santa and Miss Claus, so if you have any kids, it's always a fun time to bring them out there. And then as well, I just wanted to also note that the food distributions at our local pantry are a little different this month due to Thanksgiving. So our next food distribution will be on November 21st. And also because of the holiday season, you know, things might be tight, and the pantry is available to provide supplemental assistance. If you call and ask, they can work with individuals on that. So just wanted to let everybody know that those resources and events are available and coming up. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner? Well, he's going to call you Christine, you're not. Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to shout out a early happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We're just a week and a day away from that. I also wanted to hit on a couple things that Commissioner Toomey hit on. We, as of next Friday, will be starting our Christmas season in my district. So Saturday, December 29th is our Small Business Saturday in District 12, downtown Charlotte. And from 11 to 2, myself and our board, Friends of Eaton County Animals, will be at the Groomery on Lovett. We're going to be doing photos with our mascot, which is a big dog named Paws. And then we also are going to be doing free microchipping yet again, so people are welcome to come to that. We'll be passing out hot chocolate and snacks for the humans. And then that evening at 6 o'clock, we will be doing the lighted parade downtown Charlotte, ending at the old courthouse right downtown on Cochran in Lawrence Avenue, where they'll have a bunch of family-friendly activities going on, and Santa Claus will come in on the fire truck and so on. But to touch base on the food pantry portion, I spoke to the director of Helping Hand Food Pantry, Amanda Thompson, and she enlightened me at the fact that Helping Hands Food Pantry is in need of non-perishable items and paper products, general hygiene items, you know, shampoo, soaps, deodorants, that type of thing. It takes 6,000 pounds of food a day in our community to provide for the community, and they're currently meeting that, but it's not going to last. So they definitely are in need of some help. She's also taking donations of cat food and dog food, so if people are struggling to put food on their table, their pets will still be getting fed. And we've set up boxes at Oriole Nutrition in Charlotte, and Olivet Nutrition in Olivet, and also at the Groomery. Or you can take your donations straight to them. And then lastly, I've discussed with Fonda Brewer at Delta Township. I don't want Delta to think that we're excluding them on this microchip thing. We are working to set up a location with her to do a microchip event there as well. So we want to make sure that the dogs of Eaton County are protected.
All right,
That's all I have. Thank you.
anyone else? All right, moving on. Do we have any unfinished business?
No.
No? Rare occasion, we have to turn the page. Any old business?
No.
Any new
We
business?
do have new business, so.
Okay, we-
FOIA appeal.
Freedom of Information Act appeal. Would you like to address that?
Yes. So as for anyone who doesn't know, someone will submit a FOIA, and we have a FOIA coordinator. The FOIA coordinator then reviews the request, provides the information to the individual. If there's information that must be redacted, it's redacted prior to giving it to the individual. If they are ineligible for information or we do not have information, then we will send the denial based on that. In this specific instance, and I know there's an awful lot within your packet, the FOIA request came from an individual incarcerated in a correctional facility. Under FOIA law, they are not eligible to receive or submit a FOIA request. So the denial was made. Additionally, the denial was made due to the fact that the FOIA was for state police records, and the FOIA was records that are in the custody of the court. So it's not a FOIA. The court provided records, which is outside of what we do. So we provided all that we could provide, but also denied on the basis of the individual being incarcerated. This was reviewed by legal counsel, and legal counsel drafted the letter that you see before you, and is recommending that the County Board of Commissioners uphold the denial based on the legislation through FOIA.
So to do that, we need a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I would move that we uphold this denial. We have moved and supported. Any discussion on this? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? All right, it has passed. Anything else concerning this?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much. We are now at our second limited public comment. If you'd like to speak to the commissioners, come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Evening, Amy Etzel. I'm the court administrator for the trial courts. I just wanted to make a brief announcement that November is National Adoption Month, and the goal is to raise awareness about adoption and the importance of and need for adoptive homes for children. This year, Adoption Day at the Michigan Supreme Court is November 25th at the Hall of Justice at 10 a.m. And this year, our probate judge, Judge Pollard, will preside along with Chief Justice Kavanaugh and Justice Thomas at the Michigan Supreme Court in the courtroom. The event will be live streamed, so if you are interested in viewing that, welcome you. So just very excited for Judge Pollard to do this. So thank you.
Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we will close that portion of our meeting. And before we adjourn, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and safe travel. The airlines are back operational. It doesn't mean you won't be delayed. But we hope to see you again here next month, and we are adjourned until Wednesday, December 17th.